Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. We are going to chat about how you can film your online courses all by yourself without having to hire a videographer or have someone else with you in order to film. And I am, if you're not familiar with what my brand is, I am a business educator and I sell a lot of digital products where I have video lessons, and right now I have created 3 online courses that are available. And so I really want to talk about, I've gotten this question before of like, how are you able to film these courses, create them all by yourself in your apartment without having to hire someone else or bring someone else in to help with those things. And so I'm gonna take you through the whole process of how I essentially from preparing to film and then the actual process of filming and really what that looks like and some different options within that based on whether you're a beginner or you want a little bit more of an advanced setup. So let's go ahead and jump into all of that. The first step to creating your online course is to create an outline. And so I really prefer to create my lesson outlines in like a Google Doc and really just brain dump everything in there when I am thinking about the online course I want to create. And it usually takes me weeks, if not months, to create this outline because I'm constantly adding to it based on questions I'm getting on the topic or different things that I think of that I want to make sure to include within the course. So I have basically this master outline, and then I try to divvy it up between the different lessons I think I might want to do. And then once I have that finalized, I am then creating my slides. So I really prefer to create slides within Keynote, and it also depends on the lesson. Most lessons are going to be lessons where I have slides I'm flipping through and I am teaching on something, right? And so again, I like using Keynote on my MacBook in order to create those slides, just keeping it super simple. You could also use something like Canva to design slides and create them. Both of those options are really, really great options. I also want to mention here too, though, that there are occasionally lessons where they don't necessarily need slides, like maybe it's a tutorial, maybe I'm showing how to do something on my computer or something like that, and those tend to be a little bit more low-key and don't need to be as prepared for, if that makes sense, because you don't need slides for that. But okay, and then the third thing under preparing to film is when you're actually thinking about preparing to film and putting those dates on the calendar, I don't recommend filming more than 2 to 3 days in a week's time. So I learned this the hard way from filming one of my first courses. I filmed, it was like a good 15 hours of content, and I gave myself 1 week to film it all. So I had nothing else on my calendar that week except filming. So you would think that would be totally fine, but what I found is that my voice gave out pretty early on in that process and made it very difficult to keep filming all of those videos, and I didn't have time to do it the following week, so I had to really push through, and that was just really, really hard. So I would make sure that you are keeping that in mind. And for my last course, it's a smaller course to begin with. I think it was about 5 hours of content to film, and I spaced it out between 2 to 3 weeks. So that was definitely much better. I probably could have filmed it all in one day, but I also wanted to make sure I gave myself that capacity and time to film it all and not feel like I had to rush through it and not feel like I was going to be too tired. And I really wanted to make sure the content was top notch, especially for my students and the ones who are investing in me. I want to make sure my courses are incredible. So now let's jump into my recommended, more of the gear and all of that. So first with that is my recommended microphone. And when it comes to filming courses, I was just trying to remember where I set the microphone. I remembered now I set it over here. But when I'm filming my courses, I do it a little different than YouTube videos. So if you're familiar with, for example, showing my process filming a YouTube video, like I've just shown that a few different times on this channel and the gear that I use, I don't use the same setup for filming courses for most videos. And the reason why is I prefer to just have one really nice setup and to have things to be sitting in front of a desk and to have a desk where I can have my laptop with my notes. I can have, just different things like that. That just makes it easier, in my opinion, to film something like a course versus, a video like a YouTube video where I don't have slides I'm going off of. My notes are a very basic outline, and with a course, I just want to make sure that I'm including everything that I mean to include and that it makes sense. And so what I do in my setup and what makes sense for that is using the Blue Yeti mic. So you can see it right here, and this thing is awesome. I use this for so many things, even just like, you know, Zoom calls and stuff, or coaching calls. When I was doing those, I would use this thing all of the time. And the nice thing about this is that there's a cord that plugs in right here, and then the other end just plugs directly into your computer. And also this thing that's on here is called a pop filter. So when you say like puh sounds or tuh sounds, it just softens it a little bit, makes it not as harsh in the audio. So that's what that's for. But this thing is amazing. I've had this for 2 or 3 years now, and I use it for so many things, especially for course creation though. So we'll have a link to both of the pop filter and the Blue Yeti mic in the description if you want to check it out, if that's something that you want. I believe it's around $100. So really it's not bad for mics as far as mics go. And when it comes to, so I'm going to talk about a beginner setup and a more advanced setup when it comes to actually filming your courses and like the logistics of using this mic. And this is the mic I use for both setups, by the way. So no matter if you decide to go more the beginner route or the more advanced route, this is what I'm pretty much using for like almost every course video. I just find it to be a lot easier, and that will make sense here in a second when we actually talk about how to film these, because it just makes, in my opinion, the process a lot easier, and your mic quality is incredible. And I don't feel like it just looks kind of nice and fancy, and I don't mind if like my students see it. So you want it to be about, technically you want it to be about this distance from where you're talking, but usually when it's on my desk, it's more like this. And make sure, I'll move the pop filter, make sure that you're not pointing the mic at your mouth like this. That's not the right way to do it. You want to make sure it's up like this and you're talking into the front of the mic, and then your pop filter is going to cover the front of it, kind of like that. Okay, so now let's talk about what those two setups are and how to use this mic. So the first way that you can use, or that you can film your course, is by using a program called Loom. And the reason why I am a really big fan of Loom is because it's honestly just a very simple way to record your slides and also show your face in the corner, okay? So if you're someone who's like, tech scares me, or it's just overwhelming to me and I don't want to get fancy with this, I would really recommend Loom, and I really recommend showing your face, because to me, in just the courses that I have bought, it makes a big difference when I can at least, even if it's just a little circle in the corner the whole video, if I can at least see their face, it makes me feel way more connected to them. I feel like I learn a lot better versus if it's just a screen recording of slides and I can't see a person at all. And so I'm just a huge fan of that. So you would literally just, you know, download Loom to your computer, you'll screen record, you'll use that mic, have it plugged into your computer, and you're good to go and just record your face and your screen. So that's the beginner setup. Honestly, very, very simple. I will say though that the better quality that your content is, like the better visual quality that you have, I think the more that you can like charge for your course, and the more your students are probably going to just enjoy watching your course in general. But if that's holding you back from actually creating a course, I would start with something like Loom. You can always go back and update your course later, or, you know, get fancier with it if you want to later. But using Loom is a really good, simple option. And by buying that Blue Yeti mic and investing into a microphone, the audio quality is going to be incredible. And to me, the audio quality matters even more than like having like a fancy video quality. Because if the audio's good, like you're way more likely to actually listen to it. Okay, so now let's talk about what that advanced setup looks like. And again, I do think that, at least for me, it's completely worth doing this more advanced setup, because it does up the production value of your course and like what you can charge for it. And just, I know I learned better from courses where the production value is a little bit higher. So if you're wanting to create more of a higher end course or charge more, this is one way that you can do that. And so what I do is essentially that same idea of recording my screen with my slides. You know, as I'm tapping through them, I'm recording them, right? I will also at the same time, so I'm recording my slides And I use QuickTime to do that if I'm doing it in the advanced setup. You can also use Loom to do it, but the main thing that is important with that is not really the program. It's to make sure that it's also recording with this mic. So this is like where your audio is coming from still, and even though you're filming like with a DSLR, your audio quality is coming from this, and then the DSLR is almost like a person that you're teaching to while you are referencing, looking down at your computer at your slides, and this is where you're going to get your great audio quality versus the DSLR that you are filming with. And so yeah, so I will use this camera right here that I am currently filming on. I do have the mic plugged in, but a lot of times like I will use a lens that I have to sit further back in order to get my face and everything. And so I'm not necessarily using the mic or the audio that's coming from the DSLR when I piece it together afterward, because I want the great audio quality that comes from the Blue Yeti mic for my courses, because I'm just sitting in the same place talking through the same notes. And the nice part about this, so let's talk more now, like moving more into actually editing your videos. And I guess just to clarify too, that advanced setup. So basically you're recording with your DSLR and you're screen recording your screen at the same time. Okay, and that screen recording is recording the audio with the Blue Yeti mic, and your DSLR is also recording audio. Now, that's important because you can match up those videos together. So moving into editing your videos and exactly how to piece those together. Again, if you're more of a beginner, the nice thing about Loom is that you can actually edit out, any pauses, mistakes, things like that right within Loom. So once you're done editing, it takes you to where it's uploaded in your Loom library, and right within there, you're able to just like edit together or like edit out certain parts of the clip, which is really nice. So if you're someone who's like needs it to be easy, it definitely makes it very easy. You don't need another program at all. But for the more advanced setup, what I do is I will piece it together in Final Cut Pro. It is a $300 program, so it's a little bit more of an investment again. But you can also do something very similar in iMovie because you're only piecing together 2 videos. So essentially you're gonna wanna line up those 2 videos that you filmed, the screen recording and the DSLR recording, and make sure, the audio from this mic matches the DSLR video, because it's going to be on 2 different files, right? And so you're going to want to match that up, and then you're going to edit your video from there. And the awesome thing, and the reason why it ups your production value, is because you have better quality recording your face, right? Because you're using a DSLR, but you're also able to flip back and forth. And the way that I edit course videos, and actually I have an editor, Lily, who edits all my course videos right now. She's amazing. And she will flip back and forth between slides and then my face showing up full screen on the camera again after it's pretty obvious that you've had plenty of time to look at the slide and read what I'm saying, right? So it's not just slides the entire lesson. And I just think it makes it a lot more interesting for you to watch and for you guys to consume. And so yeah, so we do that in Final Cut Pro, and again, it is a little bit more of an investment, but when you think about investing in a videographer who could be $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to film an online course versus maybe investing in a $1,000 camera, $300 program, and $100 microphone, it really is a lot more affordable to do it that way if you are up for learning how exactly to film a course by yourself and the process of that and learning how to do that. And so I also want to invite you, if you're someone who wants to see things a little more visually, I do have a vlog on this. It was like a vlog / watch the behind the scenes of me actually filming one of my online courses. So it's one of my photography courses from way back a couple of years ago. If you're curious, you want to see exactly how to, what my setup looks like visually and how I'm doing this, I'll put the link here and down in the description if you want to check that out and jump over there next and see. And I show you how to do it both ways. I show you how I'm doing the screen recordings with Loom, but then also how I am using my DSLR in conjunction with screen recording my screen and all of that stuff. So I talk through that a little bit more visually if you're I need to see this in action. But anyways, also comment below with any questions that you have. We'd be more than happy to help in any way that we can when it comes to creating an online course. It's something I've gotten a lot of questions from you guys about, in my DM DMs and emails and stuff, but we haven't really covered a lot on this channel, so that's why we're diving in with this, and hopefully you guys like it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, hit the like button, subscribe, all the things helps us support what we're doing here, and we appreciate it so much, and we'll see you next week on Tuesday. Bye guys.